Some parents might not like hearing this, but science says some babies feel safer and happier with their grandparents. Why does that happen? Think back to that moment. The baby's crying, you're patting him, rocking him in your arms, but the crying won't stop. Then Grandma walks in. She just picks him up, and within seconds, the baby goes quiet. Or that other moment, when the house is full of guests, there's noise, unfamiliar voices everywhere, and the baby's a little scared. But the second Grandpa lifts him onto his shoulder, the baby suddenly calms down and starts looking around, like he just knows nothing bad is going to happen. Or that moment at night, when the baby can't settle down, keeps tossing and turning, and Grandma just starts gently stroking his head. Within minutes, his breathing slows down and he drifts into deep sleep. Is this just because of love? If it were only about love, you love him just as much. So there's something else going on here, something hiding behind this moment. To find the answer to this question, scientists had to go back a long way, all the way to the beginning of humans, to where our whole species story starts. Anthropologist Sarah Hrdy noticed something strange. Human babies are born more helpless than almost any other animals. A baby monkey can cling tightly to its mother from the very first day of life. But a human baby? He can't grip, can't walk, can't protect himself for months. No other animal's baby depends on others for this long. So think about it. Thousands of years ago, when danger was everywhere, when there was no safety in the wild, how was one mother supposed to handle such a helpless baby all by herself? She had to find food, protect the baby, and maybe another baby was already on the way. Hrdy says she wasn't doing it alone. Humans were never built for solo parenting. The whole family raised the child together, and within that family, the biggest role belonged to the grandmother. So when your baby goes into Grandma's arms, he's not doing anything new. He's repeating a habit that's millions of years old. But why the grandmother specifically? There are uncles, aunts too in the family. They love the baby just as much. Anthropologist Kristen Hawkes spent years studying the Hadza tribe in Africa. She noticed that when a mother had another baby, who took care of the older child? Who found food for him? The answer, every single time, was the grandmother. That's why she named it the grandmother hypothesis. Nature gave women menopause so they could stop having their own children and focus completely on caring for their grandchildren. The grandmother wasn't just a choice, she was an evolutionary necessity, one that kept the entire human species alive. Now, here's a twist that might just change how you think about this. If it were only about having any calm, trusted adult comfort the baby, then the baby should relax just as much around any calm relative, right? A neighbor could be calm too. A close family friend could be just as loving. But researchers found that's not the case. A baby's response to grandparents is often the most distinct, the deepest, even when someone else in the house is just as calm and loving. So why does this happen? This is where things get really interesting. This is what might explain that the bond with grandparents isn't just like any other calm person. It's something else entirely. Neuroscientist James Rilling used brain scans and found that when someone looks at their grandchild, the emotional part of their brain lights up just as strongly as it does for parents. This isn't an ordinary relationship. It's a bond that's already wired into the brain, something that doesn't form with just any close person. And here's another surprising thing. Some research shows that when a man becomes a father for the first time, his testosterone levels drop, so he can become more nurturing, more patient. Some scientists believe something similar happens in men when they become grandfathers. So with age, the body quietly prepares itself for this new role without asking anyone's permission. So think about it. If both the brain and the body are already prepared for this relationship, could the baby also be feeling something different from any other calm adult? This is where psychologist Megan Gunner's research comes in. She found that when a baby is near a calm, relaxed person, the stress hormone in his body, cortisol, starts dropping. This is called social buffering. But this effect is strongest and deepest when the person isn't just calm, but also a familiar, trusted face to the baby. In other words, being calm alone isn't enough. That calmness also needs to be tied to a familiar relationship. Now think about what a parent's life looks like. The exhaustion from work, lack of sleep, 1,000 worries, tomorrow's meeting running through your head, notifications constantly popping up on your phone. No matter how much you try to smile, your body still carries a low level of stress, and the baby picks up on it through skin-to-skin touch, through your heartbeat. But grandparents are in a different phase of life. No deadlines, no meetings, no worrying about tomorrow. Just full attention, with no rush. And that calmness, combined with that old, already wired bond, creates something even deeper inside the baby. Maybe that's why, when Grandpa carries the baby around the whole room on his shoulder, the baby watches his every move closely, without any fear. Or when Grandma hums an old song in a soft voice, the baby's eyes start getting heavy, and sleep comes on its own. Or that evening moment, when the baby's tired and fussy, and the second he's in Grandma's arms, no toys, no rattles needed, he quietly settles down and relaxes. And here's another interesting thing. A classic study on newborns shows that a baby starts hearing and recognizing familiar voices around him even before birth, from inside his mother's womb. If grandparents often sat close by and talked during the pregnancy, it's possible the baby's brain already stored their voice as a safe, familiar sound, even before he was born. This voice is a language of its own. Researchers call it motherese, slow, deep, unhurried speech. This tone sends a direct signal to the baby's brain. Don't be afraid, everything's fine here. No one teaches a baby this language, yet he recognizes it instantly. Now, if the brain is ready and the body responds too, does this effect carry forward even further? Anthropologists say that when a child is raised by multiple trusted adults, his trust in people grows deeper, a trust that isn't dependent on just one single relationship. This is called cooperative caregiving. The baby learns, no matter who's holding me, I'll be safe. Every time he goes from Grandma's arms to Grandpa's arms and then back into yours, he learns this same lesson again and again. And that trust, as he grows up, becomes a calm confidence in his relationships. Here's something interesting too. This isn't just one place's story. From tribes in Africa to our own villages and cities, the same pattern shows up everywhere. Where grandparents are close by, children grow up more secure. This isn't about one culture, one religion, or one country. It's a shared story of being human. So, does that mean your love falls short? Not at all. Research is very clear. The bond with mom and dad remains the baby's first and deepest bond. They're the center of the baby's world. They're his first voice, his first touch, his first smell. The comfort he feels with grandparents doesn't compete with that. It just adds an extra layer, one that makes the baby's emotional world even richer. And you might have noticed this too. When the baby's been passed from hand to hand all day, worn out, and finally he just rests his head on Grandpa's shoulder and quietly settles down, like he knows everything's fine now. So what's really happening when a baby smiles the moment he's in Grandma's arms? It's evolution, built over millions of years so that human babies never had to depend on their mothers alone. It's a brain that connects 2 generations without any training at all. It's a body that senses another person's calm without a single word being spoken. And it's a baby who knows, purely by instinct, that nothing will happen to him in these arms, no matter how much noise or crowd surrounds him. Next time your baby reaches out the moment he sees his grandparents, stops crying, or just relaxes the second he's in their arms, remember, it's not a coincidence. It's a language millions of years old, spoken without words, and one that every human baby already knows. Comment and tell me, what's your baby's name, and whose arms does he smile the most in?